Welcome to a deep dive into the digital age. We're going to be cracking open Walter Isaacson's The Innovators
Yeah,
to explore the surprising origins of, well, everything tech.
it's a fascinating history.
Get ready for some unexpected stories
Absolutely.
and maybe even some inspiration, because we're going to discover how collaboration, not just, pure genius, fueled this revolution.
That's what's so fascinating about this book, really. It smashes that lone genius myth you always hear about.
Right.
Isaacson dives into the collaborative heart of pretty much every digital breakthrough.
Yeah.
You see how teamwork and knowledge sharing, even with competitors,
Really?
yeah, were often the secret ingredients, to success.
Okay, so it's not just about the Steve Jobs-esque figures we always hear about.
Exactly. Take, for example, the invention of the transistor at Bell Labs.
Okay.
Total team effort,
Right.
but not without its fair share of drama.
Yeah.
William Shockley, the team lead, brilliant guy, but yeah, difficult personality. He ended up driving away the very talent that would go on to plant the seeds for Silicon Valley.
Wait, so the guy who helped invent the transistor accidentally kickstarted Silicon Valley by being kind of a jerk.
Yeah, kinda, yeah.
That's wild.
It is, and it highlights, this recurring theme in Isaacson's book,
What's that?
the unintended consequences that often shape innovation.
Oh.
For example, take Jack Kilby, the unsung hero who independently invented the microchip.
Right.
It sparked his breakthrough
What?
attending a Bell Labs seminar. They openly shared their transistor research.
Oh, you'd think they'd want to keep that research under wraps, top secret.
Yeah, you would.
So Bell Labs' openness basically backfired, but in the best way possible.
Exactly. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes, progress thrives on openness, this free flow of ideas.
And it totally changes the way you think about competition, right? It's not always about hoarding secrets, like some precious treasure. But speaking of game changers, Isaacson takes us way, way back, long before Bell Labs,
Okay.
to the 1800s, and a woman named Ada Lovelace. Now, she was working with Charles Babbage on his Analytical Engine,
Right.
which was a mechanical computer.
I know.
A mechanical computer in the 1800s. That's mind-blowing.
It is remarkable. And, while Babbage was focused on calculations,
Yeah.
Lovelace saw the potential for so much more than just crunching numbers. She envisioned computers tackling creative tasks, even hinting at what we now call artificial intelligence. This was a century before electronic computers even existed.
Wow.
Talk about being ahead of her time.
So she was like a computer programming prophetess.
Absolutely. And her legacy kind of lives on in what's known as Lovelace's objection.
Okay.
She believed that, that machines couldn't truly think, that they
Yeah.
could only do what we humans program them to do.
Okay.
It's a debate that still rages on in AI today.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So it makes you think about where we draw the line between human and artificial intelligence. But before we jump too far ahead, Isaacson reminds us that even those early computing giants like Babbage, they were building on the work of those who came before them.
Of course.
It really highlights how innovation is like this continuous relay race of ideas.
It is, yeah.
And sometimes that relay race has some unexpected detours.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, Isaacson takes us through World War II,
Okay.
where the need to crack enemy codes spurred, major advances in computing.
Oh, right. Yeah.
The Colossus code-breaking machine, for example, was top secret at the time, but it was crucial for the Allied victory. It was the ultimate example of technology being driven by, well, less than ideal circumstances.
Driven by necessity.
Exactly. From wartime necessity to peacetime innovation. Isaacson then throws us right back into the thick of things with the Traitorous Eight.
Oh, yeah. The Traitorous Eight.
These were the engineers who left Shockley Semiconductor, to found Fairchild Semiconductor. That was basically the big bang that started Silicon Valley's startup culture.
I see what you mean.
These folks were taking huge risks, leaving a sure thing for the unknown. What was driving them?
I think they weren't just chasing, fame and fortune. They were chasing a vision.
Really?
They saw the potential of transistors to change the world, and they wanted to be the ones to make it happen. And their story, I think, speaks to a truth about innovation.
Okay.
It often comes from those who are willing to challenge status quo.
So it's that classic rebel spirit, right? Like, we can do this better our way.
Exactly. But even within those scrappy startups,
Yeah.
there were disagreements.
Oh, I'm sure.
Isaacson shares how even Andy Grove at Intel initially resisted the idea of the microprocessor.
It's hard to imagine now, but back then the idea of putting an entire computer on a chip
Right.
seemed like a niche idea. It just goes to show that even visionaries can be blinded by their own preconceptions.
Yeah, and, it's like, who could have predicted that, right?
Right.
What seems like a crazy idea today could be revolutionizing the world tomorrow. But we can't forget
Yeah.
the microprocessor. It was just the engine, software. That was the fuel that would really, truly ignite the personal computer revolution.
Okay.
And that's where Bill Gates and Paul Allen come in,
Oh, yeah, the Microsoft guys.
the duo behind Microsoft.
Yeah.
Isaacson takes us way back to their early days, hunched over code, just fueled by passion and this almost superhuman work ethic.
I can't even imagine.
They had this unwavering belief in the power of software long before most people even understood what software was.
They were coding in the days of punch cards and giant mainframes,
Yeah.
right? It bobbles the mind to think of how far software has come since then.
Oh, absolutely. And it's really remarkable.
Yeah.
And, speaking of visionaries,
Yeah.
Isaacson then introduces us to the pioneers of the internet. And this isn't your typical, Silicon Valley tale.
Yeah.
The internet was actually born from this very unusual partnership between the military, universities, and private corporations.
Wait, so the internet, the ultimate symbol of interconnectedness and information sharing, it started as some kind of military project. That's kind of ironic, isn't it?
It is. It's this fascinating paradox.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes sense when you think about the military's need for this decentralized communication system
Yeah.
that could withstand, even a nuclear attack.
Mm-hmm.
Isaacson highlights some of the key players in this story.
Mm-hmm.
You have Vannevar Bush, who, get this, he envisioned a Memex device back in the 1940s.
Okay.
And it was essentially a proto-internet, this way to store and link information.
So he basically predicted the internet decades before it happened.
Pretty much. And then you have JCR Licklider.
Okay.
And he coined the term man-computer symbiosis.
Wow.
He saw computers as extensions of the human mind, tools to augment our intelligence. And these early visionaries, they paved the way for ARPANET, the precursor to the internet, which was funded by the U.S. Department of Defense.
Okay, so ARPANET funded by the military but
Yeah.
developed in universities. It
Yeah.
sounds like the ultimate group project.
It really was this truly collaborative effort. And one of the most important breakthroughs that came out of it was this thing called packet switching,
Okay.
which was a way to break data down into these small packets that could be sent independently across the network.
Gotcha.
And this made the network more robust and resilient,
Mm-hmm.
which was really crucial for the military,
So instead of one direct line for data, it's like sending a message on a million paper airplanes,
Yeah,
I mean, that's a brilliant but surprisingly simple idea.
it is. It was revolutionary. It totally revolutionized data transmission
Mm.
and paved the way for the internet as we know it. And what's interesting is that packet switching was developed independently by multiple researchers, actually,
Like who?
like Paul Barron, Donald Davies, and Leonard Kleinrock.
See, more proof that great minds think alike, or that collaboration is key. But it wasn't all about military strategy and academic research.
Right.
Isaacson reminds us that the early internet was also driven by, well, us. Everyday people who saw its potential for communication and connection.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, like, email might seem mundane now, but back then, it was revolutionary. It allowed people to communicate almost instantaneously across vast distances. Just think about that for a moment.
It was incredible.
It was like magic.
It would.
And it really took off, becoming one of the first killer apps of the internet. And speaking of killer apps, let's talk about the World Wide Web.
Okay.
Isaacson brings us to Tim Berners-Lee, the the man who gave us the internet as we know it.
Right.
But it's interesting. Berners-Lee's story is a great example of how even the most transformative ideas can be met with resistance at first.
Oh, really?
Yeah, people didn't get it right away. Like, I can't imagine life without the web.
I know, right. Yeah, it's incredible to think about. But it makes sense, right? Like any new idea, it takes a while to catch on.
Right, and sometimes the best ideas are the ones that, challenge our preconceived notions the most.
Totally.
Yeah.
But, once people saw what the web could do, there's no turning back.
Mm-hmm.
And Isaacson does a great job of capturing that sense of rapid evolution from those first clunky browsers to the browser wars between Mosaic, Netscape Navigator, and Internet Explorer.
Oh, yeah, those were the days.
It was like the Wild West of tech.
Totally.
Everyone was vying for dominance.
And it really pushed the limits of what was possible.
It did. But, as you read about it, you
Yeah.
start to see how how Berners-Lee's original vision of a collaborative web
Right.
started to kind of get overshadowed by, the commercialization of the internet.
Yeah.
He was concerned that the emphasis was shifting from creation and collaboration to simply consuming information.
Hmm. Yeah, that tension between collaboration and consumption feels super relevant today, especially with, the rise of social media and everything.
It really does. It's a debate that continues to shape, the digital landscape.
Mhm.
But even as the web was becoming more commercialized, Isaacson introduces us to all these
Mm.
individuals who were still like, pushing the boundaries of online collaboration. Like take Justin Hall, for example.
Okay.
Yeah. He pioneered this thing called personal weblogging, what we now call blogging,
Yeah.
back in the 90s.
Oh, blogging has been around that long? Like, I had no idea.
It's been around longer than most people realize. And Justin Hall was really one of the first to use the web for like personal expression,
Right.
creating a space where anyone could share their thoughts and experiences with the world.
So he was like the OG influencer, paving the way for, like the bloggers and social media stars of today.
Exactly. And then you have Jimmy Wales, who took the idea of online collaboration to this whole new level
Okay.
with Wikipedia. Imagine that, a global encyclopedia
Yeah.
written and edited by volunteers,
It's incredible.
constantly evolving and growing.
Yeah.
It's a true testament to, the power of collective intelligence.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing when you really think about it that way. Wikipedia really, like, I don't know, it democratized knowledge in a lot of ways.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, it made information accessible to anyone with an internet connection.
it really did. It challenged those traditional gatekeepers of knowledge
Yeah.
and showed us what happens when we embrace the wisdom of the crowd.
Right. And speaking of harnessing collective intelligence, I mean, we can't forget Larry Page and Sergey Brin, the masterminds behind Google.
Oh, of course, Google, like the ultimate answer machine. It seems so simple now, but
Right.
their idea of ranking websites based on like, the number and quality of links pointing to them was completely revolutionary.
It really was. It was a brilliant, like elegant solution to this problem of finding relevant information in the, this ever expanding digital haystack. And it totally transformed the way we access and navigate information.
Right. So, I mean, from Lovelace's vision of computers, like tackling creative tasks.
Right. To Berners-Lee's dream of a collaborative web, I mean, this journey through the innovators it's revealed some really striking patterns about innovation. What stands out to you as like the biggest takeaway?
I think for me, it's got to be the power of human ingenuity
Mm-hmm.
and the importance of, embracing collaboration. Like the digital age wasn't created in isolation, right? It
Yeah.
was built by teams of people,
Right.
driven by this shared passion for pushing the boundaries of what's possible. And it's a story that's still being written.
That's a powerful message. It reminds us that, we all have a role to play in shaping the future of technology.
Yeah.
So if you had to leave our listener with one final thought, something to really, ponder,
Okay.
what would it be?
That's a good question. I think it would be this. The internet, for all its flaws,
Mm-hmm.
it's still a relatively young invention when you really think about it.
That's true.
And imagine what we could achieve if we fully embraced its potential for collaboration and knowledge sharing. Like what if we prioritize building tools and platforms that empower people to connect and create and collaborate on a truly global scale.
Right.
What if we focused on using technology to solve our biggest challenges together?
That's a powerful vision. And you know what? I think it's a vision we can all get behind. Well, thanks for taking this deep dive with us. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep innovating.